You ever have a boss tell you to do your job and then fire you for doing it too well? Welcome back to Drama Narrative, where karma doesn't just knock, it kicks the door down. Today's story: a compliance officer gets fired for being too good at compliance. And what happens next? Let's just say a $47 million contract, 3 federal violations, and one very smug executive all collide in the most beautiful disaster you've ever seen. Hit that subscribe button, because this one's going to be wild. So let me take you back to March 2023. Our protagonist, let's call him Marcus, worked as a senior compliance officer at Titanium Solutions, a mid-sized government contractor specializing in defense logistics. Marcus had been there for 8 years. 8 years of making sure every T was crossed, every I was dotted, every regulation followed to the letter. And his boss? Meet Derek Hutchinson, VP of Operations. The kind of guy who wore expensive suits, drove a Tesla with a vanity plate that said Closser, and thought rules were suggestions for people who weren't visionaries.
Marcus loved his job. Not because it was glamorous, compliance work never is, but because it mattered. When you're handling defense contracts, one missed regulation can mean lawsuits, federal investigations, or worse. Marcus took pride in being the guy who kept Titanium Solutions clean. Derek saw Marcus as a roadblock. It started small. Derek would schedule client meetings without giving Marcus time to review contracts. He'd promise delivery dates that violated safety protocols. He'd cut corners on documentation because the client doesn't care about paperwork. Every time, Marcus would pull Derek aside. "We can't do that. It violates FAR 52.246-2. We'll fail the next audit." And every time, Derek would smile that condescending smile and say, "Marcus, buddy, you gotta learn to be flexible. This is business, not a textbook." But Marcus wasn't flexible. He was thorough. And that thoroughness had saved the company twice from federal penalties. Then came the Westfield contract. Westfield Defense Systems was offering a $47 million, 3-year contract for logistics support. It was the biggest deal Titanium Solutions had ever pursued. Derek was obsessed. He saw it as his ticket to a C-suite promotion. The problem? The contract had strict compliance requirements. Environmental regulations. Safety certifications. Supply chain transparency. The works. Marcus spent 3 weeks reviewing the RFP. He created a 47-page compliance roadmap. Every requirement, every deadline, every certification needed. He flagged 12 areas where Titanium Solutions would need to upgrade their processes. He presented it to Derek in a meeting. Derek barely looked at it. "This is too complicated. We'll figure it out after we win the bid." "Derek, we can't figure it out after. These are pre-qualification requirements. If we don't have these certifications in place, we'll be disqualified during the audit phase." "Marcus." Derek leaned forward. "Do you want this company to grow, or do you want to hide behind regulations?" "I want this company to not get blacklisted by the federal government." Derek's smile disappeared. "Just, make it work." Marcus made it work. He worked 70-hour weeks. He coordinated with environmental consultants, safety inspectors, and certification agencies. He got Titanium Solutions compliant, barely, by the submission deadline. They won the bid. Derek threw a company party. Champagne. Catered food. A speech about bold leadership and taking risks. He didn't mention Marcus once. 2 weeks later, the Westfield audit was scheduled. This was standard. Before releasing funds, Westfield would verify that Titanium Solutions actually met all the compliance requirements they'd claimed. Marcus prepared a binder for the auditors. Every certification. Every safety protocol. Every environmental impact assessment. It was bulletproof. The day before the audit, Derek called Marcus into his office. "Marcus, we need to talk about your future here." Marcus felt his stomach drop. What do you mean? You've been with us a long time. But frankly, you're not a culture fit anymore. You're too rigid. Too by the book. This company needs people who can think outside the box. Derek, the audit is tomorrow. And we'll handle it. I've already assigned it to Jennifer from operations. She's more collaborative. Jennifer had been with the company for 6 months. She had a business degree and zero compliance training. You're firing me the day before a $47 million audit. We're letting you go, effective immediately. HR will escort you out. You'll receive 2 weeks severance. Marcus sat there, stunned. 8 years. 8 years of protecting this company, and Derek was firing him because he was too rigid. I need to brief Jennifer on. That won't be necessary. Clean out your desk. Here's what Derek didn't know. Marcus wasn't just thorough. He was meticulous. Every email he'd sent Derek about compliance violations. Saved. Every warning about cutting corners. Documented. Every time Derek had overridden a safety protocol. Timestamped and filed. But Marcus didn't need to use any of that. Because Derek had just made the biggest mistake of his career. See, those compliance certifications Marcus had obtained. They weren't company certifications. They were certifications tied to Marcus's personal credentials as a licensed compliance officer. The environmental permits. Issued under Marcus's name as the designated compliance authority. The safety protocols. Signed off by Marcus as the responsible party. When you fire your compliance officer the day before an audit, those certifications don't just transfer to Jennifer from operations. They expire. Marcus cleaned out his desk. He didn't argue. He didn't make a scene. He just smiled, shook hands with his colleagues, and walked out. And then he went home and waited. The audit was scheduled for 9 a.m. The Westfield auditors arrived with clipboards and federal regulations. Derek greeted them with his best salesman smile. Jennifer stood next to him, holding Marcus's binder, looking confident. The auditors asked for the environmental compliance certifications. Jennifer handed them the documents. The lead auditor frowned. These are issued to Marcus Chen. Is he available? Oh, Marcus is no longer with the company. But we have all his documentation. Ma'am, these certifications require a designated compliance officer to be on-site and actively employed. If Mr. Chen is no longer employed here, these certifications are invalid. Derek's smile faltered. What do you mean, invalid? I mean you're not in compliance. Let's continue. Maybe the other areas are fine. They weren't. The safety protocols required Marcus's signature as the licensed safety coordinator. Invalid. The supply chain transparency reports filed under Marcus's credentials with the federal database. Invalid. The hazardous materials handling permits issued to Marcus as the responsible environmental officer. Invalid. One by one, every certification that Marcus had painstakingly obtained, every piece of compliance that had won them the contract, was now worthless. Because Derek had fired the one person whose credentials held it all together. The lead auditor closed his folder. Mr. Hutchinson, Titanium Solutions is not in compliance with the contract requirements. We're suspending the award pending recertification. You have 30 days to obtain new certifications, or the contract will be terminated. Derek's face went white. 30 days. That took us 3 months last time. Then I suggest you work quickly. We'll be in touch. It gets better. Without Marcus's certifications, Titanium Solutions wasn't just non-compliant for the Westfield contract. They were non-compliant for their 3 existing government contracts. The federal database flagged them. Automatic compliance review triggered. Within a week, all government contracts were suspended pending recertification. Derek tried to fix it. He called certification agencies. He hired consultants. He even tried to call Marcus, who didn't answer. But here's the thing about compliance certifications, they take time. Environmental assessments take 60 days minimum. Safety certifications require on-site inspections with 6-week waiting lists. Supply chain audits need 3 months of documented processes. Derek had 30 days. He failed. Westfield terminated the contract. The 3 existing contracts were suspended indefinitely. Titanium Solutions lost $73 million in active and pending revenue. The board fired Derek 2 months later. The company downsized by 40%. And Marcus? Marcus got a job at a competitor 3 days after being fired. With a 20% raise. And a signing bonus. Because when you're a licensed compliance officer with 8 years of spotless government contract experience, you're not unemployed for long. 6 months later, Marcus got a LinkedIn message from Derek. "Hey Marcus, hope you're doing well. Any chance you'd be willing to consult for us? We're trying to rebuild our compliance program." Marcus read it. Smiled. And deleted it.
So what happened here? Let's break it down. Derek's fatal mistakes. 1. He didn't understand what Marcus actually did. Derek saw compliance as paperwork. He didn't realize Marcus's personal credentials were the foundation of the company's government contracts. 2. He fired Marcus at the worst possible time. The day before an audit? That's not just bad timing, that's sabotage. Even if Derek wanted Marcus gone, waiting 1 week would have saved the company. 3. He underestimated the importance of institutional knowledge. Jennifer couldn't just pick up where Marcus left off. Compliance isn't something you learn from a binder. Marcus didn't break any rules. He didn't sabotage anything. He didn't need to. Derek sabotaged himself by firing the one person who held the company's compliance structure together. This is the beauty of malicious compliance in specialized fields. When your expertise is tied to personal certifications, licenses, or credentials, you're not just an employee, you're infrastructure. Remove that infrastructure without a transition plan, and everything collapses. Never fire someone out of ego without understanding what they actually do, especially in regulated industries, especially the day before an audit. Derek learned that lesson the hard way, to the tune of $73 million.